I should have messaged these men and I should have been like, is it in the spirit of Halloween as to why you ghosted me? Were you possessed by a ghost? Because that's the only excuse I will accept at this point. Hey,
Hey guys!
everyone!
I'm Victoria.
I'm Elizabeth. Like the
queens.
queens.
Welcome back to another week of our podcast. We're very excited to be here. And on the day this is airing, it's actually going to be Liz's birthday. So everybody who's listening and watching, go give her the happy birthdays, send her the good vibes, follow our Instagram, follow our TikTok, because that'll make her day.
That will make me happy. You know, what I want for my birthday is to hit 100 followers on Instagram for our podcast.
You heard it here first, folks. She wants one thing. Let's make it happen.
And once we do that, then we'll be giving away a Dunkin' Donuts gift card. So really, y'all are breaking the bank for me.
Yeah. In honor of the Dunkin' Donuts gift card, look, I'm wearing donut socks. Guys, it's a sign. You have to go follow our Instagram.
I actually got Dunkin' Donuts coffee yesterday, I think it was, or Monday, and I thought of you.
I'm touched. I get Dunkin' every morning still. I'm still not accustomed. A few episodes ago, I talked about how I was not noticed at the local Dunkin' next to my house, and I still am not on that level that I was before I left for Wisconsin. And I'm about to leave again, so I don't know if we'll ever get there again, but...
How dare they?
I know. It's okay, though. I'm still getting my coffee. It still tastes great.
That's
Anyway, moral of the story is go follow our Instagram so you, too, can experience the Dunkin' as we have.
I was going to ask you, you booked all your, callback stuff? Are you ready? Are you excited?
Everything is booked. I'm going on a little trip soon, guys. I'm going to be spending Halloween weekend in Massachusetts doing...
That's so exciting. Literally, you're living my dream. I want to go to Salem, Massachusetts on Halloween so badly. You're living my dream. Living it.
I should definitely go there on Halloween because I'm getting in during the day.
Yeah, you should.
All right, guys.
It's on my bucket list. You're marking off my bucket list.
Yeah. So, gonna have to add that to my itinerary. Anyway, I'm going to Massachusetts for a callback Halloween weekend. Very excited about it. And then, as soon as I get back into Florida from the Massachusetts trip, I'm actually going to be flying all the way across the country to California. And a few days after I get settled in, me and Liz are going to be joined together again. Finally, at last, we've been apart for too long.
We have. And we're going to take California together by storm.
By storm. We have a whole house to ourselves.
We do. Thank you, Victoria's family.
Yes, thank you. My aunt and uncle, we love you. But yeah, we're so excited, and we're going to an audition together. We're living the performer life for a week.
Yes.
So
I'm so excited.
Maybe you guys will get an episode of us not on Zoom.
Yeah, I was going to say that, but I'm also mostly excited about just exploring LA together because I've never been. You've been before, so you're going to have to give me all the tips and tricks. This has been a dream.
I know. Liz talked about going to LA all summer, and when I got the email for my callback notice in LA, I was like, I definitely have to tell Liz to just join me on this trip because why not?
And I said, okay. And I got my ticket that night.
Truly, we booked this in the matter of 2 days. I called her, and then we booked the plane tickets.
I'm so excited.
Me too.
So excited. But that's in 3 weeks. But right now, we have to talk about Halloween and what comes along with Halloween.
Yeah. When you think of Halloween, you think of pumpkins, candy,
leaves,
costumes,
hot chocolate, apple cider.
But one very important thing that you think of during the spooky season is ghosts.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. And that's what we're here to talk about with you guys today. Ghosts.
It's the season of ghost.
Season of ghosting.
Ghosting. And we actually experienced major ghosting this past week.
We did. We have stories. So
we do. I should have messaged these men and I should have been like, is it in the spirit of Halloween as to why you ghosted me? Were you possessed by a ghost? Because that's the only excuse I will accept at this point.
Oh my gosh, I should have. That's definitely what we should have responded to these men.
Yeah.
Missed opportunity. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So Victoria, do you want to start?
I'll start with my story. I'll start with my story. So I have been talking to this guy that I matched with on Bumble for almost like a little over 2 weeks at this point.
Wow.
So that for me, that's a really, really long time because I'm usually like, I'm in and out of Bumble and we meet within less than a week. So for over 2 weeks, like that's a really long time. And we scheduled a date for a specific day. He was driving down to me and we were going to go get sushi. And we talked about it for over 2 weeks. And then the day before we were supposed to go out on Thursday. So on Wednesday, I texted him like in the morning when I woke up and I was like, good morning. Like, how are you doing today? Never heard anything the rest of the day. And I was like,
that's suspicious.
I was like, that's a little suspicious. So, the next day, this is Thursday, the day that our date is supposed to be, I text him again, like a little late in the afternoon on that Thursday, like a couple hours before the date. And I was like, hey, like, I don't remember what exactly I said. I was like, hey, are we still on for tonight? What's the deal? What time did you want to meet? And he never responded. And I was like, okay. I was like, I kept this night free for you. And now you have the audacity to not respond to anything I say. And I was a little upset about that because I could have had another date. I could have had another date that day. But it's fine. And then I text him the next day after that, and I was like, hey, I just wanted you to know that the sushi was really good, but if you weren't interested, you could have just said something next time. And
such a savage.
He unadded me on Bumble. I don't know if he blocked me, but he wasn't very happy with that response. So that's my story about ghosting, my most previous ghosting experience.
Right.
And just men will be men, and it's never going to be fun. And I planned a whole night. We talked for so long. And to me, I just don't understand, like, why he kept the conversation going with me for over 2 weeks if he's just going to stop talking to me the day of the date. For me, that's just like, you wasted your time too, so hope you feel good about it.
That's
but anyway,
ridiculous.
We're still thriving. I went on a date the next day. So
You're doing great. You're doing great.
Yeah. So that was my most recent ghosting experience.
I had a few of the same in the same week. Like, I was supposed to go out with that other fireman.
Yeah.
And he never answered me. And then the guy who had a seizure, and he was like, I'm so sorry I had a seizure. That's why I never answered you. And we talked about going out, like, the following Saturday. Following Saturday rolls around, and I message him. I'm like, hey, are you down to still go to Optimus Hall? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. And so then on Monday, guess who Snapchats me in the morning?
The fireman.
Seizure boy. No, Seizure boy.
Seizure boy, okay.
And I'm like, did you have another seizure? That's really convenient. I didn't say that. That's what I was thinking. I just didn't respond to him. And then he Snapchatted me again that day. I opened it again and didn't respond. Because obviously at this point, like, he totally made up the having a seizure as an excuse to not see me.
And that's wild. That's complete. Like, men, if you are going out of if your excuse is that you had a seizure.
A seizure. An excuse to not see someone. You made that up.
Like, just tell her you're not interested. I guarantee you it'll be simpler in the long run.
Like, I was suspicious about him the first time because, like, it took him a couple days to tell me that. But I'm like, whatever, I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. But, like, once he did it again for a second time, I was like, there's no way. There's no way you had a seizure. You were lying straight through your teeth. Show me those medical bills. Show me that hospital stay.
Where's the a picture of the
Where's the bracelet? Oh, you didn't even post your hospital band? It's definitely not real.
Yeah, then you didn't have a seizure.
You weren't trying to get sympathy from other people? Fake.
Yeah. Like, 2 times. He fooled you twice.
Twice.
You're not going to go back from that.
No, so I stopped talking to him. Like, you completely just stood me up twice. But I actually got stood up. Like, 100% stood up. So, this beautiful man and I, guys, oh my gosh, this man was hot. Okay? And we had been messaging, and he was one of the guys from the week before who also didn't message me back about hanging out when we were supposed to. And then he messaged me the next day, and he's like, I'm so sorry, I had a family emergency. Okay, whatever, I'll give you the benefit of the doubt. So we scheduled a date for Thursday, which was the same day Victoria was supposed to go out with that guy who also didn't answer her.
Yes.
But we had confirmed our plans that day. We had been messaging throughout the day. We were going to meet at a brewery that was 35 minutes from my house, closer to his house, okay? First of all, I just want to say, he was like, do you want to come to my house first and then we can leave together? And I said, no, Ted Bundy, I would not, but thank you.
Right.
And he was like, fair. And so we decided to meet at the brewery at 7:30 because I had like work and I had something else that evening. I can't even remember what it was. So I get there accidentally 10 minutes early. And so I wasn't going to message him that I was there 10 minutes early. So I messaged him at 7:25 that I was there. And 10 minutes later, like, I still hadn't heard from him at 7:35 at this point. Granted, he's only 5 minutes late. That's fine. And I hadn't heard from him. 20 minutes roll by, and I text him again. I said, are you coming? Nothing. 30 minutes down the line from when I first texted him, I decided I'm not waiting for him anymore. I'm leaving. And so I text him just, I'm leaving, period. I sat there in that parking lot for 30 minutes waiting for him to never show up. Our date was supposed to be at 7:30. I'm on my way home, another 35-minute drive. So this boy wasted an hour and 40 minutes of my time total. My time is precious. I'm a busy woman. I work 9 to 4. I do this podcast with you. I'm also auditioning, which I have to do right after this too. As soon as we're done with this, I have to go do my hair and makeup and learn a dance routine to send tonight. So I don't think wasting an hour and 40 minutes of my time is a great first start, a great first impression.
I completely agree.
50 minutes had passed since we were supposed to meet. And I'm on the phone with Victoria. And this man calls me. And I decline his call automatically. And he sends me 4 text messages over and over telling me how sorry he was. That he didn't realize what the time was. He had lost track of time. And that he was on his way. That's too bad because I'm already like 5 minutes from my house. I'm not turning back around. And I told him I didn't want to meet at 8 or 8:30 because, again, my time is precious and I have to get up the next morning really early to get to work and get ready for work. So I wasn't going to be out late on a night I have to get up super early the next morning.
Yeah.
And I just didn't respond. I wasn't going to respond to this man at all. But Victoria knows this. I was wanting to send him my Venmo and be like, here, like, you can Venmo me like $30 for wasting my time and my gas. Because I pay for all that by myself. Yes, I pay for my time because I'm a valuable woman. And so...
Period.
Period. And my mom's like, Elizabeth, don't do that. Just don't respond. Like, it's fine. The next day, he messages me this really long apology about how it was very immature of him, how he was sorry. And like, yeah, it was very immature of him. He's like 25 and he pulled this crap. And I told my mom again, I was like, Mom, I want to send him my Venmo. And like, that's how he can make up for wasting my time and gas.
Yeah.
And she goes, Elizabeth, this boy has apologized to you multiple times. Just tell him like you forgive him and move on. And I messaged him back and I was like, thank you for apologizing. Like, that was it. And he was like, is there any chance I can take you out again? I didn't respond. He messaged me again later. He's like, are you free tonight? Like, can I take you out for a drink? And my mom's like, Elizabeth, he's trying so hard and he's so hot. Like, yeah, this man is really hot. But that does not excuse it at all. And she was like, maybe give him a chance. And so I texted him back when he asked me if he could take me out, if I was free. And I said, maybe, but you have a lot of ground to make up. And he goes, I understand. Like, I completely get it. And he tried asking me out like 2 other times. And I was like, sorry, I'm busy dyeing my hair and doing my nails right now. And
Fair enough.
I just never, I wasn't going to keep trying. And like, if he asked me out on a day where I was free, like I would have gone, but he hadn't. And I just turned him down every time. So like, I think we mutually are both just not talking to each other anymore.
Yeah. I mean, I don't really trust him.
I don't trust him either. Like, if he wanted to go back out, or, like, if he wanted to go back out, he didn't even show up the first time. If he wanted to take me out, he would have had to come to my hometown. Exactly. I wasn't driving 35 minutes again for him.
No. And it's just, like, first of all, I think a date, like, 7:30 or after, that's already too late. And at the age of 25, it is. Like, if it's happening 7:30 or after, the guy has one thing in mind. And, like, that he had you come closer to his place. Because I think at the end of the day, he wanted to grab a drink and hopefully take you home. And
and I told him I wasn't doing that.
Yeah, that's just not the vibe anyway. So,
because
and then he was
very
late
attractive.
Too. And then he was
like,
late.
And, like, this man was so attractive, but, like, so was Ted Bundy. I would have gotten in the car with Ted Bundy. So that's why, I'm like, yeah, I would have gotten in the car with Ted Bundy. That's why I said, we are meeting out in public and not at your house, because you could be a serial killer.
Right. And this is why Liz is leaps and bounds smarter than I am, because I go to the guy's house, and I should really listen to this advice, but I don't.
You have not had that experience yet with a psychopath.
It's
true. I think once you have that experience, I hope you never do, then it will completely change your perspective.
I think that's gonna be the deal too. Maybe because one day I'll learn.
When I went out with a psychopath, I picked him up at his house. I didn't go inside of his house, but I picked him up at his house, but then I was trapped with him in a car. And I'm never putting myself in that situation again. And so that's why I do not go to a man's house. That's why I do not get in the same car with him, unless, like, we have to establish trust beforehand. And I know he's not going to try any funny business.
And that's smart. That's smart.
Thank you. How to Not Get Murdered 101 on this fine Halloween evening.
Oh my gosh. I need to take that advice. But it's okay. I'm living while I'm young.
It's okay. You text me. All I ask is that you text me, like, his name and the address. So, like, I know, like, if something happens, where I can find you, who I can come after.
My location is always on. Like, here in Florida, everybody knows where I am. All my friends and family have my location at all times. So I just kind of vibe with that.
Oh, my gosh.
But yeah, you truly got stood up by this man.
I truly got stood up. But you know what? It's okay. I'm texting a cutie right now who I'm hopefully going to go out with on Monday.
Okay.
He's really cute. He's a guy who I texted you about last night.
Oh. Whoa. I need an explanation because I do. You have me so confused. This girl was like, he's so cute. And then this girl was like, JK, I don't really like him anymore. And now I'm hearing live on this podcast that she's going to go out with him on Monday?
Okay, yes, he may have done something I didn't like, but he's very attractive and he's 6'3", so.
I mean, I get it. Would I still go out with him? Yeah, 100%. So, I support you.
He's 100% my type. Like, he's 6'3". He has dark curly hair. He has a beautiful smile. Loves dogs.
Mm-hmm.
I will forgive him for this little slip up.
Right. I mean, I understand, and I support your date. That was just a shock from me.
I know.
From this morning.
He doesn't have, like, my big, like, I think he's very attractive. Am I going to marry this man? Probably not. But I'm going to go out with him. So I think it's okay.
Fair enough.
Yeah, fair enough. But let's go back to ghosting for a minute. Because, like, we talked about how we feel about, like, when we are ghosted. But also, Victoria.
Yeah.
You have no problem ghosting a man.
No, I don't. So I may sound
your thoughts.
A little hypocritical when I say this, but, like, you know, when I get bored or when I'm just done, if I'm not vibing with the guy that I'm talking to, I truly have no problem ending the conversation right there. I will unadd them, I will block them, or I'll just stop responding. And for me, that makes sense because I guess they get the sign that I'm not interested. But I think, okay, so here's the difference. And what I think is that, like, I would never talk to a man and then ghost them the day of the date. You know, like, I would never lead someone on that much. When I ghost people, it's after probably a few days of talking and I'm like, okay, this conversation's not going anywhere. And I just unadd them out of the blue.
Yeah.
I mean, could I give them a little bit of warning and be like, hey, I'm just not feeling it? Yes, I could. But also, I owe men nothing. So
you don't owe them anything. No, you don't owe them anything.
Yeah.
I think when it comes to, like, having a conversation with someone you haven't met and the conversation, like, isn't going anywhere and, like, that person's not reciprocating, like, a lot, like, they're not giving a lot to the conversation, I think it's completely fine to just, like, end it, like, to ghost it right there.
Yeah.
And, like, if they want to continue talking to you, if they want to try to make more of an effort, then, like, they will, and you can either, like, try again or not.
Yeah.
But, like, I think if you go out with someone and you don't want to see them again and, like, that person is still trying to see you, I think you need to tell them that you're not feeling it and just not ghost them.
Yeah. I don't think, I'm, like, trying to think back on all these dates, is I don't think I've ever gone out with somebody and then ghosted them after that. Yeah. I don't believe so. But I definitely have ghosted a person just out of the blue. Like, they probably think that I'm the worst person because we just, like, we're having a conversation, but then all of a sudden I was like, I'm bored. Oh, this conversation isn't good. It's not fun and exciting. So I will truly just unadd them or block them.
Okay.
So that may be, okay, I get it. Maybe I can't complain, but at least I don't schedule a day to do things and then just leave them wondering the whole day and have them rearrange their whole day around this plan that I, at the end of the day, I'm not going to do.
That's just rude at that point.
Yeah. I don't like that.
I can understand, like, not meeting that person and, like, you're just texting, like, the conversation just dying. But if you make plans with someone or if you've already met this person, like, face to face, I think there should be, like, some kind of conversation to say, like, hey, I'm not feeling this. Or, hey, I just don't have the time right now. I don't know. Make up any excuse.
Which I have no problem doing. I have no problem, like, being honest with the guy. I'm just texting him and being like, hey, it was fun. I'm just not feeling this, and I don't want to see you again. I truly have no problem with that. I'm always the one in the friend group who's, like, pushing my friends to send that text.
You are.
Yeah. Not just with Liz, but, like, with my other friends too.
Yeah.
So, like, I have no problem doing that, and I think it's fair enough. And at least you're not ghosting them.
Yeah.
I feel like it should be. That's a good thing.
It is a good thing. What was I going to say? I was going to say something. Oh, what about when you ghost them or, like, tell them you don't want to see them anymore and they still don't stop?
And they still Snapchat you. Still
and
text
they still call you.
Are you speaking from experience, Liz?
I am. I actually have two things. First of all, I want to talk about this man on Tinder. I'm actually going to go to our messages and pull up the screenshot I sent you. Like, this guy was being weird and, like, talking about, he was just, like, not a good conversationalist, and he was talking about having an OnlyFans and, like, how his family would never find out. And, like, he was like, do you want to make one with me? And I'm like, no. And so he made it very weird, okay? And so I just stopped responding when he said, I just need someone to shoot with. When he was talking about, like, making a sex tape or something with me, I was like, no, thank you. So then 2 days later, he messages me again. And he goes, so you gonna help me out, LOL? 11 hours later, he texts me again.
Yeah.
Want to hang out? 3 days later, come meet my dog. 6 days later, what's your number? We should meet. 5 hours later, want to text me? And then he sends me his number. This guy messaged me literally 6 times. And this was for, I'm looking at the dates. This was like 11 days. He was messaging me straight and not getting the hint that he had made me uncomfortable and I didn't want to talk to him anymore. Maybe I probably should have just, like, unadded him or whatever, but I was like, no, I want to see how far this man takes this.
That's just, like, that's something, psychotic. Again, that I don't understand. Like, okay, one text, no response, fine. They send another one, because they don't know. Maybe you just didn't see the first one. Maybe you forgot to respond. 2 texts is fine. 3 texts is, like, really, really pushing it. Like, calm down. They probably saw both your texts and don't want to respond. But the second it hits the 4th one, 4th on is just too much. That's just crazy. And a little bit creepy.
And then you talk about your dog. Like, we never even talked about his dog at all.
Yeah. Like, it's kind of that man, specifically the man that, like, the messages that you just read, it's delusional. Would be the right word. He is, I don't know what alternate universe he's living in, but
he's crazy.
That's what it sounds like.
Literally crazy. And then I know for the people who haven't listened to our last episode, you need to go back and listen. When I talked about the guy who I went out on a date with, the lip smacker who went mwah.
Yeah.
Well, I told him I didn't want to see him anymore. And this was over a week ago. And guess who called me this past weekend? He did. And I'm like, I literally told him. I told him I didn't want to go out with him again. And then he still calls me.
Yeah. Like, that makes me uncomfortable.
It makes me uncomfortable,
that's definitely
too.
not, it's doing the opposite of what this man thinks it's going to do, which I think he's going to be like, oh, if I call her, she'll think that I'm putting in this effort and that I'm being persistent. But no, it's, you don't know how to accept the boundaries that I'm setting. It's kind of weird.
I'm like, you're not understanding that I just said I told him I didn't have time to pursue something with someone. I didn't want to lead them on. Which is, like, semi-true. Like, I'm not looking for a relationship. And
right.
That was something, like, he was open to, and I know he wanted to spend more time with me. But I wasn't interested like that, and there's only been one person who I've been like, yes, I want to pursue something. Like, I'd love to explore this more with. And he did not meet that criteria.
Right. That's fair.
Right.
And that's okay. But the fact that he called you again.
Yeah, that's not okay.
Ugh. Not my thing. This guy who I also matched with on Bumble called me on Monday, and because he's been wanting to go out with me, and I'm just, like, not really feeling it with him, and
that's
I
fair.
was like, yeah, it's fair enough. And I texted him, and he texted me, what are you doing on Monday? And I was like, I'm busy on Monday night, like, it's just not gonna work out. And I was like, I'm not sure if our schedules are just gonna connect. I have a lot of things going on in my life right now, so I just don't know if this is going to work. And then he didn't respond to me for, like, 2 days after that, and I was like, oh, okay, like, we're done. And then he called me out of nowhere, and I was like, I've never spoken to this guy. We've never FaceTimed. We've texted for maybe 3 days. And I was like, and I obviously didn't answer the call because I'm not that invested in trying to make time for this man who lives 1 hour away from me. And 2, I was like, he's 5'11". So unfortunately, I can't give that man my time of day.
Sure.
And then he called me, and I was like, I'm not answering that.
If he was really 5'11", then he would say he was 6 feet tall. So he's actually 5'10".
Yeah, I was like, you're probably lying to me about everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's my thing. That makes me sound so shallow, but I'm a tall lady, everybody.
Tell them how tall you are.
I am 5'11", like, basically, with shoes on and everything. Shoes on. No, I'm 5'10 3/4. We round up to 5'11". So, I want a man who's at least 6 feet. But, like, I prefer, 6'2" and up. Like, and I feel like that's not too picky of me.
No, and you're not shallow at all for wanting that. Like, every person has their own thing when it comes to, like, wanting a partner or to date someone. And so, like, you have no reason to ever feel bad for wanting to date a tall guy.
Yeah. It's hard out here for these tall women.
It is. I dated one guy for a year and a half who was, like, my same height, like, the exact same height. And, like, it was fine. It was a terrible relationship. Like, the height wasn't the biggest thing. But, like, as soon as I went out with someone who was 6'3", truly, that's, like, my favorite height, or, like, 6'5", then I'm like, oh, I like this.
This is, like, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It changes your perspective.
That's just my perspective. So, men, don't call us out of the blue. The moral of all of that story was, please don't call us. If we tell you that, it's just not working out, the timing's not going to work, the solution is not to call us. I guarantee you that.
Keep us a ghost of your past.
Yeah. Ghost of the past. Everybody has such a bright future, and your person will come, but please don't call me, because I won't answer the phone.
Since we're still, like, talking about ghosting a little bit, there was a term I wanted to talk about that I felt like went along with ghosting.
Okay.
But I don't know if I would consider it harsher than ghosting or, like, a nicer way to ghost someone. And that is breadcrumbing. And I actually looked at the definition of it to read to our listeners beforehand so they know what we're talking about. I first heard this term from the podcast Girls Gotta Eat. That's what really got me into, like, dating podcasts and what helped me out a lot and kind of what inspired this, I would say, because I had Victoria listening to it too when we were on road trips together and everything.
I'm obsessed with the podcast.
Yeah, so check them out. But breadcrumbing is when the crush has no intentions of taking things further, but they like the attention, so they flirt here or there, send DM, text, just to keep the person interested, knowing damn well they're staying single.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of the best way, like, my feelings on this, because
I think it's mean.
I definitely do think it's mean, because you're not being, like, just be honest. Like, what's the point? Yeah. Especially, like, in my opinion, it's mean if you know that the other person is looking for a relationship. Like, they're looking for something that they want to last. Like, you're keeping them from pursuing other people. You're keeping them from just, like, keeping their options open. Especially if you're sending really, like, flirty stuff like that. I'm, like, trying to think of an experience, like, if that's ever happened to me.
That has happened to me. Like, I know the exact experience. And it was, I didn't understand what was happening to me until I listened to that episode on Girls Gotta Eat, and I realized, oh my gosh, this is what that guy has done to me. I went out with this guy back in February who I really liked. We had a great first date. Awesome first date. Like, we laughed. We even hung out longer with each other because we were just having a good time. We talked about a second date. We talked about, like, things we wanted to do together, like restaurants I wanted to take him to, about going to, like, Topgolf, stuff like that. We messaged for weeks after our first date. And then I wasn't going to sit around and wait for this guy. Like, he wasn't making the initiative to, like, take me out again. And, like, I had made that initiative. I've been like, hey, what are you doing this night? Yeah. What are you doing then? And he never, like, made any other plans. Mm-hmm. And so I was actually out on a date with another guy because I wasn't going to sit around and wait for him. And he was on a trip to, I think it was Michigan, to see family. And he wanted me to call and talk to him on his long road trip. And I was like, yeah, I'd love to talk to you. Like, we haven't talked since our first date. Like, we've just been texting and Snapchatting. Like, I'll call you when I'm done hanging out at this bar. I didn't tell him I was out with another guy. Yeah. So I left the bar, and I knew he was still driving, but I called him, and I guess he probably got the vibe I was probably out with someone else because it was really late when I called him, and he never picked up. And we had just been messaging that few hours beforehand about wanting to chat. Everything was good between us. Yeah. And then I tried calling him, and I never heard from him again. Yeah. Never heard from him again. And we messaged for probably, I'd say, like 2 or 3 weeks after we went out.
Did it sing a little?
Yeah, it did. It hurt. Yeah. I was, like, interested in him.
Dang. It's the fact that he never, like, texted you afterwards. To me, that's just, like, weird. What's the point? Yeah. What's the point? Someone tell me.
Yeah, like, he wants to chat with me, wants to talk with me. Everything's going great. And then I try calling him. He never picks up, and then never talks to me again.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we had messaged that whole time. Like, he was breadcrumbing me for weeks.
Yeah. That's crazy. I don't think, I honestly, like, don't think that's happened to me. But I also think that's because I have not actively been looking for a relationship. And these guys that I go out on dates with, I don't think are, like, looking for anything serious either. So we still text, so we still hang out, but, like, I don't think that's ever happened to me.
Interesting.
But I'm sure it's coming. I'm sure it's coming. I don't doubt it. But, like, most of the guys I still text with, I still plan on seeing again. Maybe it's, like, happening to me and I don't know. I don't know yet.
You don't know yet. Interesting.
But
yeah.
That's a fun tactic. It's actually not a fun tactic. It's a bad tactic.
No, it's actually really mean.
That's just mean.
I wanted to ask your opinion about, I'm just going to call him I always call him, so we won't say his name out loud, but the Olympian who I went out with.
Yeah.
Do you think he breadcrumbed me?
I don't even think he breadcrumbed you. I think he just, like, literally used you for your time while you were there. Maybe not used you. I don't think he had bad intentions. Yeah. But also, like, I don't think he knew what he was doing. And I do think that
we made that decision together. We were both like, we're not 100%, like, I went out with this guy, for people who are listening, for like 2 months while we were out in Wisconsin. Like, we weren't in a relationship, but, like, we saw each other for 2 months out there. Yeah. And we talked pretty much, like, the whole time I was there, though. Like, it took us a month to meet, but, like, we messaged for 3 months, and then we hung out for 2 months. And we both, like, established that we weren't 100% like, yes, let's be in a relationship, because of what I was wanting in life and, like, what he was wanting in life. It just wasn't going to work out. But we talked about, like, wanting to stay in contact with each other, and, like, I truly made that effort with him, and then he just never responded.
Yeah, so I guess it would be considered breadcrumbing, because he did message you for, like, a little bit after we left
like 2 weeks, like 2 or 3 weeks, yeah.
And then I remember that one time you made the effort to try and, like, actually talk to him, and then
I tried calling him.
Back. Yeah.
I tried calling him, and I texted him. I'm like, how did your trials go? Like, did you guys get a spot in the Olympics? Yeah. Like, what happened? Nothing.
So, yeah, I would consider that breadcrumbing.
He breadcrumbed me.
And it just sucked. It was just so, like, by the end of the time we were in Wisconsin, we were, like, wrapping things up. I was already, like, just really frustrated with this man that we are talking about right now. Yeah. Because I think, like, me and the other girl who we were there with were just starting to, like, get these vibes. We were like, oh my gosh, like, why is she making this so difficult after some like stuff that happened? And we were just like, this is crazy.
He was terrible at communication.
So, the worst. He was the worst at communication. And Liz did a really good job of, like, really trying to keep that door open. And he shut it.
Yeah, and I was like, we can be friends. Like, we can be great friends. Like, we have so much in common. Like, things we like, things like music-wise. Like, he was a music major, and I'm into guys who play sports. Obviously, he played sports.
Liz's type.
Like, I really enjoyed hanging out with him and being with him, but I don't think he knew how to be someone's partner.
No. No, absolutely
not at all.
Absolutely not. Okay, this reminds me of, it's kind of not on the topic of breadcrumbing, but like, if you text somebody during the day, like say you text somebody good morning, and they don't get back to you until 2 days later, they don't care about you. Because you can't think of, everybody's looking at their phone at least once a day.
Yeah, and he would text me maybe once a day, once every 2 days.
Yeah. That was the main thing with this man specifically, is like, he wouldn't respond for 3 days, and it's like, why are you even responding? Like, either you're interested or you're not. That's how I feel about it.
And then I'd ask him about him. Like, I would say, like, if you're not interested in me, that's fine. Just tell me that. And he's like, no, I'm very interested in you. I like hanging out with you. And, like, when we were together, everything was, like, great. It was fine. Like, we had great times together. And then as soon as we were apart, it was back to a single text a day. A single text every few days.
Crazy.
Breadcrumber.
Not a fan. Not a fan of him.
Not a fan.
Not a fan
well, we don't talk anymore.
Who did that. So.
Well, I don't talk to any of them anymore, so.
Good. Yeah.
So I think that wraps up our like episode about ghosting.
Our ghosting
and our Halloween special. Episode. Yeah. Basically, we're not a fan.
What'd you say?
I said basically we're not a fan.
We're not a fan. I don't think anybody is a fan of ghosting, and it's never fun because there's never like a good reason. There's never a good reason to do it. People just do it, like, I don't even know, for their own amusement, I guess. Maybe they're bored. But the funny thing is, and I think Liz can attest to this, is when you're talking to a guy and then they ghost you, you stop talking for a bit, but then you post something one day, and then they decide that they're going to come up from the ashes, they're going to arise, and suddenly want to talk to you again. It's funny how ghosting only works for that one person. Like, they can decide. Not for me. That's one of my biggest pet peeves, is like when men do that. Like, truly, this happened on our last week of Wisconsin. I posted on my Snapchat story. I was like, goodbye, Wisconsin. Suddenly,
they all
of these guys that never wanted to take me out swipe up, and they're like, what, you're leaving? And I'm like, this is not how this works. I'm not suddenly going to drop everything to come see you. You chose to make this decision.
Yeah. The boy from Holcomb who I messaged all summer but refused to take me out on a date because he was scared of me.
Yeah.
And now he's messaging me and trying to Snapchat me, and like I'll respond some and be like, yeah, I'm doing good, how are you? And then I like won't respond to him and be like, hey, like trying to get me to talk to him, and I'm like, what do you want? Like, I'm 18 hours away from you now. What do you want?
Yeah. Hate that a lot.
Me too. Me too. Anyway. Thank you all for listening to us rant about freaking ghosting.
Our spooky episode about ghosting. If you have any ghosting stories, feel free to share with us.
We'll read them. We actually have another email submission we're going to read, not today, because I think we've been recording for a long time, but tomorrow, or not tomorrow, next week. I don't even know.
In our next episode, stay tuned for an email submission of another crazy story. Another great crazy story. And we love to hear them. So please keep them coming in. Please go follow our Instagram to make Liz's birthday wishes come true. You guys
and thank you.
She wants one thing for her birthday.
I do.
Let's make it happen. Let's make it happen, guys.
Also, you can now rate us on Spotify, so please go give us a 5-star review because you love us on Spotify. And like, rate, review on Apple, on YouTube, on all the things that you can find us on. But mostly Apple and Spotify and YouTube.
Yes, and please feel free to share our podcast to all of your friends.
Please.
I hope they enjoy it. And I hope you guys are enjoying this as much as we are making these episodes for you guys.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. Also, you can find us on Facebook. We have a page and a group. The group can be used for discussions, but the page is for like our daily, weekly updates about the podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very true. All right. So happy birthday, Liz. Happy Halloween to all our listeners. I hope that your costumes work out. I hope that everybody stays safe on a Halloween night in 2021.
I was going to say, go be hottie, go be thoughty.
Yes.
Go
live your best life this Halloween. Go party for me because I'll be on a plane.
Yep. Party for Victoria. Anyway, I'm Elizabeth.
And I'm Victoria.
Like the queens.